Thanks, everybody. Oh, thank you so much. Welcome to Build. I am your host, Ricky Camilleri, and our next guest is one of the funniest stand-up comedians around. You loved him and his family on BET's The Gary Owen Show, his movie appearances, and stuff like Think Like a Man, Ride Along, Meet the Blacks, the show House of Pain, and now you can see Gary Owen in his new Showtime special, Doing What I Do, premiering Saturday night at 10:30 on Showtime. Let's take a look.
I'm just happy to be an entertainer without a scandal right now, you know? Now it's like comedians, we leading the charge. Bill Cosby, he's in jail. Hell, Roseanne got fired from Roseanne. When you got a lot of different problems with a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons, it might be you. If you want to meet girls, wait for the club to close. Hopefully a food truck pulls up. Find a nice-looking lady. Right there. You want some tacos? I'll take a taco. Her girlfriends come over. Where'd you get them tacos?
Everybody, please welcome Gary Owen.
Thank you.
Hey, good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thanks so much for coming back.
Yeah.
It's good that you're here.
It's a nice neighborhood. I like all the shops around here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's
you
nice out here.
Do some shopping?
I'm going to do it after this. Usually I'm not paying attention, but this time I was actually looking.
Oh.
And there's a lot of good shops around here. I'm going to go shop.
I love the new special, man. I think it's fantastic.
Would you say if you didn't like it, though? Like, have you ever had a comedian who was like, it was all right?
I would never say that it was all right, but I would never say that I loved the new special. I really liked the new special. I thought it was fantastic.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, comedians always say that, like, it's my best work yet.
It felt
You know,
like it was
it
diving a little bit
pretty
deeper.
good. It was
But
good.
Did it feel like you were diving deeper in some ways?
Yeah, it was, how do I put it? I talked about a lot of people in this one. Usually I kind of talk about my family, mostly. This one I kind of went into a lot of other celebs, other comedians. So in a fun-hearted way, but also was trying to make sense of some of the stuff going on with, you know, who did I talk about? Monique, Kevin Hart,
Roseanne, Bill Cosby a little bit.
Yeah, Will Packer, also big movie producer. So I talked about a lot of people. Hopefully they don't take offense to it. I think it was pretty lighthearted, though, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. But I think that what makes this, I know that you said it's your best work, and I would agree, I think, is that you've always had a very unique perspective because of how you grew up and your background and the sort of the comedy world that you came up in. And I think that unique perspective offers a depth to the conversations that you're having that nobody else has that perspective, can talk about it that way.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, I think the way that you talk about Roseanne, right? The way that you talk about Roseanne. And
well, that was interesting though, because I didn't know what happened, and then I saw the online. I saw Roseanne fires Roseanne. I said, "Damn, how you fire yourself?"
It's the idea that like it's not that hard to know what not to say.
And that's why I say it's kind of simple. Like I think we overthink things, and with everything I was talking about, even with when I talked about Kevin in the scandal and Roseanne getting fired, I go, a lot of it comes down to common sense. Like with Roseanne, I was like, it's not, you know, as a white person, it's not that difficult to figure out what you can and cannot say about black people.
Yeah.
So when she says like, I didn't know it was gonna take offense to it, I go, well, you gotta be out of touch with reality if you don't realize what you said was offensive.
And it's also like, come on, you know.
Exactly.
You fucking know.
That's the thing. I'm like, come on, Roseanne.
It's always the case with someone, I find, when they say something offensive, usually when it's like racially offensive or offensive to the LGBTQ community, and they're like, I didn't know. And like, yeah, you did. You were just trying to push buttons.
Yeah.
You pretty much knew.
You didn't know you was going to get that kind of backlash, but you knew. You know, that's what I was trying to get at.
Do you feel like, and we're always having this conversation, I feel like, with comedy, but right now it seems like a lot of comedians keep saying, like, it's hard to be a comedian right now because you can't say certain things, or we're scared to sort of go out on stage and say everything that we want to say and test new material and be dangerous. Do you feel that way at all? No, not at all. I think when you go to comedy clubs, we still are doing what we've always done. It's just when you do stuff on social media, it gets backlash. But in the end, it doesn't. I mean, for stuff people say on stage, it doesn't cost them much. You know, it doesn't. It didn't hurt Tracy Morgan's career. It didn't hurt Hannibal Buress's career. I mean, the stuff you do off stage can, but everything we've said on stage, it's never like there's been such backlash that a guy can't go on the road anymore and tell jokes. And when you're at comedy clubs, especially when you get to a point where you have your core fan base, they have an expectation of what you're going to talk about. So some people want you to push the envelope. Right.
They want to
feel like, oh, I'm glad he's saying it because I can't say that.
Right. And it's the I got a little what did I say? I had some backlash for a special I did a few years ago because I have a special needs cousin and I talked about her in my act, and I got all this pushback, and I was like, somebody said, you can't be talking about people like that. I go, I wasn't. I was talking about my cousin. I didn't talk about the whole group. I talked about one person, and she wasn't mad. You know, we still cool at a family reunion. She's happy she's on TV getting talked about. You know what I mean?
Why do you think some comics, because I don't want to generalize, but some comics and some entertainers, actually, I wouldn't even just say comics, are so afraid of backlash? Because backlash to me is just criticism.
Well, I think they're afraid of losing work. Right. I don't think it's so much the backlash. I mean, we're in an age where you can get endorsements and stuff like that. Like I had to issue an apology, which I'm not happy about. But I always say when comics apologize for a joke, we don't mean it. We're just covering our asses. But we don't mean it. If we spend enough time, it was the special needs joke about my cousin. Yeah. But if we spend enough time to formulate and come up with a joke, you know, and our brains are like, this is funny. And if people are laughing at it in the audience, sometimes you want those ohs in the audience. That's almost better than a laugh, you know? So whenever I hear a comic having to apologize for something, I go, they don't mean it. That's just their publicist spinning it, and so they can keep that, you know, they can keep that Pepsi deal or whatever, that John Deere deal. That's all it is. I didn't mean mine. I'll be very honest with you. And I know I might get some heat on this, but my publicist wrote my apology. I barely made it through high school. I didn't write that thoroughly thought out thesis that she wrote. I was like, whoa.
What did you think?
I'm in the wrong line of work if I wrote that apology.
Did you feel like you were on the cusp of losing anything before?
I thought I might lose my show, the Gary Owen show. Wow. Because, you know, they were going after endorsements. They were going after the people that were going to advertise on my show. And it was I don't want to act like I'm a victim or anything, but it was some bully, it was some bully type behavior. Wow. You know, I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? And I was the perfect level of celebrity to go after because I wasn't so big that I could just say screw off, but I was big enough that they can get pressed behind it. And, you know, what I found was as soon as the apology came out and they kind of moved on from me, they just went right to somebody else. They went right to another comedian. And I had my web guy splice up it was like a 10-minute video, just so we have it in case anybody ever comes at us again for whatever reason. And it's literally 17 comics talking about the same subject I was talking about. And it was everything. It was black, whites, big name comic, small name comic. It was all across the board. I was like, they're gonna have to keep going after comics if you can't talk about special needs people. And what I told them was I said, I don't think I'm better than special needs people. That's why I feel like I can talk about them. If I feel like somebody's beneath me, I'm not gonna talk about them. That's just that to me. That's like being a bully. But if I feel like I'm not better than you, then I can talk about you. Because we all got issues.
Your cousin, and you love your cousin, and you're just. I'm sure what you're saying on stage, you've probably said to your cousin and joke around with them.
We're good.
Yeah.
Trust. we're fine.
What does it feel like when, you know, they go after you, or, you know, whoever's going after you is going after you and they're going after your endorsements, and you have to issue an apology and the apology gets issued and they just move on to somebody else? Does it feel like anticlimactic? Do you kind of want a moment where they come out and they say, thank you so much, Gary, for the apology?
I didn't care.
You didn't care?
Honestly, I was just like, well, now they leave me alone. That's all I was thinking of, you know. And it wasn't like a week. It was the next day they moved on to another comedian. I was like, whoa, because I just went back. Once it calmed down, everything went away. I went back and started looking at all the people I was getting messages from on Facebook and DMs on Instagram and Twitter. And they just moved on. They just literally went, okay, that's one, check. Let's move on to the next comic. I said, you're just going to stay mad. I mean, you're just going to stay mad. You realize that.
Looking for something to be outraged by, just trying to get that dopamine rush.
Right. Yeah. Like it did I think what it comes down to is it wasn't the special needs people, so to speak, that was after me. Was like their advocates. And only thing I can come up with is a lot of it was parents and relatives of special needs people. And I was like, I think what it is they don't have anywhere to direct their frustration. If you have special needs, if you have a special needs son or daughter, And that's a lifelong commitment. It's not like they turn 18, they're leaving the house. And you're probably like, wow, I've probably lived my life right, did everything right, and now I have this responsibility the rest of my life. I don't want to say burden, I say responsibility the rest of my life. And I'm frustrated by that, you know? And I think a lot of frustration is you love the kid, but what happens if something happens to me? Now what happens to my son or daughter? Yeah. You know, that's scary to think about. So here comes a comedian coming along, making fun of his cousin in fun, and you're like, oh, see, I'm going after him. That's where I'm going to direct my anger. That's the only thing I can come up with. I was just the easy part because one lady sent me, I know I don't want to laugh about, but one lady sent me a message, and she said, I am the mother of a special needs son, and he's the greatest blessing and joy of my life, and I hope karma kicks you in your ass, and one day you have a special needs kid. I said, so you want me to have the biggest joy and blessings of my life? And she just sent a message back, fuck you. That's all she said. I was like, okay, I don't understand what you wanted there. Are you mad at me, or you want me to have these great blessings and joys? I don't get it. It made no sense. That's when I thought about that's the reason. She's mad. And I'm the easy one to be a target at because,
How much has social media been like a great tool for your success as well as kind of, I mean, like it is for anybody in the world itself. Like it's a great tool, but at the same time, it's kind of awful.
Oh, I like it. It's just, I take it all in fun. Yeah. It's all in fun. If you take social media too serious, then you got a problem.
Well, because part of the backlash, I mean, the quote backlash that everybody talks about is something that would have just been said at parties or people hanging out. Hey, I saw Gary Owen's special. I like this and I didn't like this. And we're going to talk about it now, you know? But now it's all on social media and people send it out and it feels like some sort of permanent criticism that could hurt the comedian in a way.
Well, I think when people like you, they just say, like if somebody likes, my special comes out on Saturday. Somebody likes my special, they might just be like, funny special, I enjoyed your special. If they don't like it,
good stuff,
they fucking break it down completely. So the hate is so long where the love is so short. So we focus on the anger and the people that don't like your stuff because they go into detail why they don't like you. Like if somebody likes you, they're like, hey man, you funny. Good shit. You know, if they don't like you, they tell you specifically why they don't like you, and we focus on that instead of the quick. Because you'll get 100 positive, but that one negative, I don't know why you want to respond. You're like, Urgh. You know, why don't you like me?
You get positive, you're like, oh, that's nice, that's nice.
Yeah.
Oh man,
right.
I'm really bad at this, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know why we do that. I'm guilty of it too. I don't respond, but I'm guilty of like, why is this the third time I read the negative tweet? Were the positive ones that just kept it moving.
You know, going back to the thing that you said that it's not hard to know what not to say. You know, Chappelle released a special last week. I loved it. I thought it was really funny. But there was some stuff, some dangerous line walking that he did where people have come out and said, you can't say that. You're victim blaming, which he even says in the special, I blame victims. I'm wondering what you think about that in terms of things you can or cannot say.
I mean, you can say whatever you want.
Right.
And Dave's in a great position because he doesn't need the media at all at this point. He can just put his name on a marquee or a bill and, you know, he's selling tickets. So he really doesn't need anybody.
Or the money.
Or the money. Yeah. Like he's the freest, he's probably the freest comedian out there right now. Like he can really say what he wants and doesn't have to worry about the backlash, you know? So, I mean, your backlash, it's not going to affect him at all. He can still go to freaking Milwaukee tomorrow and sell at 10,000 seats. So what's your backlash do?
Right. So you can say whatever you want, but just be okay with the backlash or don't pay attention to it at all.
I mean, you can pay attention to it, but just laugh about it.
Right.
That's what can't take it too serious.
Well, you said, one of the things that you do in the special is that you talk about other people. What made you feel comfortable talking about other people in the special?
There was a lot to talk about this past year. You know, there was a lot, you know, with Kevin and the Oscars and Roseanne getting fired from Roseanne and Bill Cosby going to prison and then the Monique thing with Netflix. There was just a lot to talk about, a lot. So I just was like, you're on the road, you're in the clubs and you're working it out and it's getting big laughs. You're like, oh, okay, you guys don't want to hear about my family anymore.
And
just move on and talk about other people.
You had issues with Monique yourself.
I don't
Not
have issues,
but...
I didn't like how she did things. I didn't like how, I didn't like how she went after Will Packer. My issue was I don't know the situation with Tyler Perry or Oprah or Lee Daniels. I wasn't there, and I don't know those people like that. Like, I know Will. Like, he's put me in 3 films, and I consider him a good friend. I've been to dinner, been at his house, things like that. So when she tried to compare Will Packer to Harvey Weinstein, I was like, that was a little much. And I guess my thing with Monique is, you know, I understand you're taking a stand in what you believe in. I said, but at the same time, you're going after everybody. At what point does it stop? Just because somebody disagrees with you doesn't mean they're against you. They're talking to you to see if they can help you, or maybe you can think a different way. But I think sometimes people just get they dig their feet in so deep. They're like, no, I'm not backing off now. This is it. And I just think my thing is like, when does it stop? Because it's.
I think, as you say in the
there's about 8 people right now. Every time she meets somebody, she goes after them. It's the new one. You're like, when does it? At what point? You know.
I think, as you say in the special, if you're looking around and everybody around you is the asshole, you might be.
Yeah. Well, I said if you got
you might be wrong.
You got a lot of different problems with a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. I'm like, it might be you. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
Have you ever found yourself in a situation like that where you were in a place in your life and you were like, oh, I have too many problems with too many people. Something's wrong here. I got to figure this out.
Well, I say we always sometimes our brain plays tricks on us.
Right.
You know, and I talked about on my podcast a couple weeks ago. I said there was a couple times, like I'll give, for instance, there was a time when we shot Think Like a Man, the first one, and Kevin was working on his new special, so he invited the other 4 guys to the Laugh Factory to go see him, and everybody went on Sunday night, and I didn't go, and I saw on social media, I was like, dang, I didn't even get invited. So in my brain for the 24 hours, I'm like, I don't think fucking Kev likes me. I was like, why don't he like me? Then we get the set on Monday, and everybody's talking about his show. And then somebody said, Gary, why didn't you go? I go, I know nothing about it. I wasn't invited. And Kev literally went, you ever feel like an asshole sometimes? And his thing was, I'm a comedian. He didn't even register, invite Gary, because you just show up at comedy clubs when you want. It wasn't like, he felt like those guys were actors. They don't get invited. So it wasn't anything personal. It was just like, he was like out of sight, out of mind almost. Like, here's a comedian. He'll just show up.
But when he told you that, did you buy it right away?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, he was just like, it was funny. We were laughing about it. I go, I wasn't invited. He's like, I remember he had a hood on. He goes, you ever feel like an asshole sometimes? But it wasn't no big deal, you know, but it's funny how your brain, and you just start going over in your head like, man, what's wrong with this dude? You don't like me, or this chick? Why don't you like me?
What happened?
Right.
There was that one thing I didn't mean
Did
to
I say something?
The coffee that was there. I don't know.
Yeah. But it was all in my brain. It was all just my brain was playing tricks on me. You know what I mean?
You know, you have always talked about your family in your special, and you talk about them a little less in there. Do they miss being talked about?
No, I don't think so. No, my daughter's at an odd age. You know, she's a senior in high school now. She's 17, so she went from I want to be famous to I don't want nobody to know me anymore. She's at that age, so she's cool. Like she's
the people that live with her in the house.
She's at an age where every time I take a picture of her, she's like, "Don't post that."
Yeah.
Like immediately, I go, I'm not gonna post everything. Don't post that, Dad. Like I have to be very clear when I whip my phone out. Hey, I want to get a picture with you. All right, but don't post it. Like she's so clear about it now. I go, what happened to the in 2nd grade? She's gonna be a singer and have her tour bus by 4th grade, and she was gonna be famous, and she was gonna leave me backstage passes. What happened to that girl? You know, now it's like I don't want nobody to know who I am.
Where do you think that came from?
I just think she wants to stand on her own merits. She doesn't want to be Gary Owen's daughter. She just wants people to know her and like her for her. So I think that's where it's coming from. And now she's going to college next year.
What does that feel like? You've already sent a child to college, right?
Mm-hmm. The oldest.
Yeah, your stepson.
Yeah.
And just your stepson. That's the only kid that's gone to school so far.
Yeah, and my other 2 are still in high school.
Right.
So
what's it gonna be like, you think, to send your daughter off to college?
She's gonna go to HBCU. I'm pretty sure. We got some college visits. She wants that black experience because she doesn't want to be mixed at all. She wants to be black. That's one thing I have figured out quick. Everything goes wrong in her life is my fault. She gets a sunburn. It's your fault, Dad. my wife and the boys will be out on the sun all day. Me and my daughter in the kitchen, aloe vera in each other's backs. You know, all burn up. Everything goes wrong. It's my fault. You know, I'm like, all right, it is what it is. But I'm gonna use my little pull, my little fame to get her into HBCU. So,
what is it?
Go with your mom to Howard and go with Dad.
Right. You use your pull to get her into
Not my pull, but I'm I'm not gonna do what they did at USC. I'm not gonna do that.
Hey, a lacrosse coach or whatever it was that they did. Yeah.
But I'm gonna be there. Hey,
You guys like me?
it'd be nice. But if she ends up at HBCU though, black people are gonna be like, Gary's black for real. This dude went all in, right?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I who am I to say? But I think you probably have already gotten that, right? That observation has already been made about you.
Oh yeah, I'm black famous for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talk about
because I haven't been stopped once by a white person in New York yet. 76 black people since noon has stopped me.
You also say you've gotten into dust-ups on Black Twitter as well.
Speaking of Twitter, I did a thing about I said the N-word. No, I didn't say the N-word. I literally said N-word, right? N-word. I spelled it out. People got mad. I said, I can't even type N-word. You know, like.
How are you supposed to talk about the word?
Right, and it was something I heard somebody else say. So I was repeating what I had heard. And then I got a little backlash. But again, it was nothing. It went away. Nobody was really that upset. I think a lot of times we focus on the loud people on Twitter, the upset ones, but that really is the minority because most people don't care. But we focus on the 30 people that are making all the noise.
Like egg avatars and 0 to 20 followers.
Yeah. We focus on that, and most people are like, what? They don't even realize what's going on.
Even just hearing myself say, like, how can we talk about it if we can't say it? It reminded me of the moment in your special of white people wanting to say the word all the time. That's not me.
Yeah.
Immediately felt like I heard the white guy in me being like, well, what can I say now if I can't say it this way?
I know. That's what I'd say. It's that I talked about that with Roseanne. I was like, you know what you can and cannot say. And it's like, all white people know you cannot say the N-word. Right. Like, it's so obvious. So when it kills me when white people say it, I'm like, what?
But there's like a weird contingent of white people who like want to find a reason to say it and then don't understand why they still can't say it in whatever like I'm telling a story.
Yeah.
Like you still can't do it.
I was like, listen, I there's so many words out there that just we could use outside the N-word, you know? I said just watch a spelling bee on ESPN. There's so many words just sitting in the dictionary unused. Just use one of them. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's so pointless. I can't say it, in my house. Everybody can say it in my house but me. I'm paying the mortgage.
Have you ever brought that up?
All the time. All the time. This is my house. I can say what I want. Well, not really, but to a point.
We have a question from Twitter, and it is from I Am Chef Noel, and they want to know, if not comedy, what else?
If I want a comedian?
I guess so.
I don't even want to think about it.
Well, you were in the Navy.
Yeah, but that was just a Navy recruiter coming to my trailer, and it was just when I joined the Navy, it was never about where I was going, it was where I didn't want to be. I didn't want to be stuck in the trailer park my whole life because literally a buddy of mine woke me up my senior high school. It was about December, and he was like, him and his dad, I don't know how they got my trailer. To this day, I'm trying to figure it out. But they woke me up, and they was like, "Here, come on." And I go, "What?" And my sleeper, I was like, "What?" He goes, "Come on, you gotta get out of here." I said, "What are you talking about?" They said, "What are you gonna do after high school?" I said, He goes, "You gotta get out of here." They drove me down the recruiting station because he had joined the Navy, and that's where I joined. I just went, all right, I guess I'll leave. You know what I mean?
Do you think that did pretty amazing things for you, though?
The Navy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, completely opened my eyes to everything. Like, my first bunkmate was a guy, I'll never forget, his name was Copera Washington. He was from South Carolina, and he had pictures mailed, and he was on a tractor, like a John Deere tractor. And I was like, you on vacation? He goes, nah, that's where I live. I go, black people don't live on farms. I'm 17 in the Midwest. All the black people live in the city. No black people live on farms. Well, he grabbed this brother from Mississippi, from Georgia, from Alabama. They're like, Gary, tell me what you just told me. I said, black people live on farms. It was like a do the right thing moment. They went, this dude. And they all lived on farms. They all lived together baling hay. I go, what the fuck? So it just was like, oh my God, I was so narrow-minded. And I would just always be a white guy that would ask questions to all the black guys. I posted recently on my Instagram, there was a picture when I was like 18 years old, and in the barracks, on the weekend, there was like this group of 4 or 5 brothers, and they always had music blaring, and it was just, and they filled their bathtub up with ice, and it was like Old English, and all these 40s of malt liquor, just terrible, terrible alcohol. And all the white guys would be complaining, not all, but some white guys would be complaining, man, they always fucking playing the music so loud. So I went down there and knocked, and they opened the door, and I was like, what are you guys doing? And they thought I was going to complain. I walked in and joined them. And from every weekend after that, I was invited over, and I never bought a 40 in my life. They always had plenty for me. I thought 40s was okay. I didn't realize that shit's disgusting.
Well, when you're 19.
Oh, when you're 18 and it's
18,
free?
Yeah.
Man.
I had my fair share of 40s when I was 18 or 19 years old. If you gave me a 40 now, I would probably throw up at the idea. I wouldn't be able to do it.
So bad.
The hangover in a bottle. Like, you get the hangover first sip and you sit with it.
But 18, 19? Come on now.
Let's go.
That was Louis.
Yeah. A few questions from the audience. Who has a question? Right here. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
My name is Adri, and I'm a stand-up comedian too. So my question for you is that when you were coming up as a comedian, what helped you to stick around with it?
What helped me stick around?
Yeah.
There was never a plan B. I just went all in. Like, when I was in Navy, I took, they had college classes, and I was taking college classes on the weekends, and I'm still 2 general ed classes from getting my bachelor's. And I told my wife when we started dating, she goes, you should just finish up so you got something to fall back on. I said, oh, there's no fallback plan. I'll never take those 2 classes, because to me, it was letting myself say, you're really not going to make it. You know, so you either just gotta go all in. There's no plan B. I mean, there's just no plan B. It's the biggest roller coaster ride. Comedian's like the biggest temp job on the planet. You're just gonna go up and down, up and down. There's not a lot of job security, but the payoff is great because you have no regrets. You know, I would hate to be like in a cubicle right now thinking, dang, I wish I would have been a stand-up. That'd be worse, no matter how much money you make. You know, because that's part of the fun. I miss being a broke comedian sometimes, because then it was just about stage time. It wasn't worried about how many tickets were on sale and what are the price of the tickets and counting the room. It was just showing up and you just being funny, and you got a new joke and the crowd laughs at it. There's no better feeling. Well, sex is probably a better feeling, but second is a better feeling. Yeah, blowjob probably better feeling, but let's just be honest. But
there you gotta
close second is a good joke.
Yeah.
And the face is the same. I can't believe it worked. The payoff's the same.
Face. I can't believe it worked. One more question.
Hello. So
I didn't know what you were about to do right there, because she got one of the rest.
Weird thing, right?
I thought I was getting served papers. Blowjob, huh? Bing.
Are you Gary Owen?
Right.
You've been served, sir.
Right.
So everyone's getting ready for the 2020 election. So if you were going to be running to be president of comedy, what would be your campaign slogan?
Fuck it.
Oh, okay.
The 2 words. And that'd be my answer to every debate. What do you think about this? Fuck it.
He is running for the president of comedy, whatever that is.
Right.
I don't know.
And now weed's getting legal everywhere. Get all the votes. I like that guy.
I was just thinking you did graduate from 40s to champagne here in the poster,
Right.
it looks like. Yeah.
That's part of the thing. Once you see the special, you'll know what doing what I do stands for. It basically, whenever you see me on social media and you see hashtag doing what I do, I'm lying. That is code for I am lying. So everything in my poster is a lie. I'm not popping bottles. I don't have a yacht. Everything's a lie in that poster.
Have you ever been on a yacht?
Have I been on a yacht? Yeah, but it wasn't like a yacht. It wasn't like a Diddy yacht.
What was it like?
San Diego, like a cruise, like dinner cruise yacht. You know.
Like other families?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah,
it was terrible.
Like a really bad buffet
No,
meal.
I got hired. It was like a river cruise or something where I was the comedian, and the guy before me bombed. That's the worst place to bomb because you can't leave. Like that guy bombed on the
just
boat, and I was
stuck in your cabin for the rest of the night, right?
Not a
'Cause you don't
cabin.
wanna see.
It's like it was one of them 6-hour cruises. So the guy, it was in San Diego, and the guy does this party cruise every year. You know, you board it like 8 and it goes till 2 in the morning. So the comedians, we were going on from like 10 to 11, and the guy before me bombed. I was like, oh, shit.
Where did he go? Do you think he was like, where's the captain's cabin? Can I just go hang out?
No, when I tell you he was oblivious, like he was dancing like nothing happened. I was like, oh, he really don't give a shit. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? I did all right, but I was like, whoa.
Is it better or worse to follow a comedian that bombs? What would you rather follow, a comedian that kills or a comedian that bombs?
Bombs.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, well, you got two things. You got an out. If they don't like you, that was the audience. That definitely was the audience. They don't like both of you. And, you know, if you address the bomb, then you get the audience on your side. Right. I mean, the guy was a sacrificial lamb, so you're going to have to go in on him. Somebody can't bomb you, not address it if you go after him. You know, so if you get him, then you're like, you look that much funnier.
Which is all you have to do to get him is just like a quick throwaway line
just
right at the top.
That dude.
Better luck next time.
Right.
Like,
just address the guy that bombed, and then, you know, he might have a little issue with you afterwards, but it happens.
do you hire opening comics to bomb for you?
No, that's why I think we're a lot of headliners now, they bring their own openers. And when I first started, I didn't understand it, but now I get it because you know what they're bringing to the table. I like a funny guy going in front of me, but he doesn't touch on the same subjects as me, you know? And I also like helping out the guy opening for me, you know? Like, you know, sometimes you're like, that's too close to somebody else's joke or something like that. Or only problem with having an all-time opener with you is sometimes they see you so much, they start moving like you. And their delivery starts, and you're like, whoa, you're becoming me a little bit, you know? And I've heard other comics say that too. And it's not on purpose. It's just you're around that person so much, you start to move. That's one reason I don't watch a lot of stand-up anymore. Because I never want to think my jokes aren't mine.
That's got to be such a weird thing to address as the headliner to your opener, that I can see you acting a little bit like me. Because even if it is happening, and that is a real thing, and you do have to say it, there's no way to say that without coming across like an egocentric maniac.
You know what? I don't think so, because I've told my guy, so he's been open for him for a couple years, and I told him, I said, just be careful, man. Your delivery is starting to sound like mine, and I'm not the only one that notices it. My road manager noticed it, and then some other people have noticed it. Friends, I mean, so I'm not coming. I always tell them, don't watch me. I said, just sit in the green room, watch TV or something. Just stop watching me. You're watching me too much. I'll tell you a funny thing that happened.
I don't think you're an egocentric maniac.
No,
I
know.
You know,
but this is the point where he didn't even get it. I had a joke about something happened on an airplane. I had a joke. And in the joke, I said the guy was in seat 32B. Right? It's in the special. The guy's in 32B.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I remember.
My opener has an airplane joke. Motherfucker said 32B. He said, so this chick was in 32B. I said, you took the fucking seat? So he goes, I didn't realize I did it. He goes, I think I just heard you. And what's crazy is when he started telling the joke, which has nothing to do with my joke, but he was the same seat, he struggled to get the punchline out because he was on autopilot. So literally he got to the seat and he goes, so then he was in like 17C. It wasn't even coming out right. So who knows how many times at 32, but he had just seen me say it so much.
Right.
So he wasn't taking my joke. He wasn't doing anything. He was just taking a small part of my joke. And I was like, dude, the same fucking seat, bro?
Which is such a seemingly small thing, but it kind of screws up your joke later on because a few people in the audience could be like, 32B is the same. That's weird.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Gets into people's heads.
Yeah.
Gary, I love the special. Again, I think it's my favorite special of yours. Congratulations.
I think it's the greatest special of all time.
Yeah. #1 special all time. Yeah.
For real.
Better than, Chris Rock's in the 90s.
What part of
better
all
than Steve
time
Martin.
don't you... Aren't you not comprehending right here?
I was actually just starting to go down the list of comedians, like greatest specials of all time, and then I realized like 2 or 3 of those I can't actually say because they're like canceled.
Yeah.
Or like Bill Cosby himself, I can't be like Bill Cosby himself. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. All time.
Still a good special though.
Yeah. Close second.
Close second. Showtime, Saturday night, 10:30 p.m. Gary Owen doing what I do. Gary Owen, everybody, let's hear it.